Chapter 1101 Getting a Wife. Today was the day that Jiaonan married Zai Sheng. Jiaonan would be basking in glory today. Even if she could not bask in Jiaonan's glory, she had no wish to be ridiculed by others. Zaijin, stop it. Let's go back. When it's time, your sister will send someone to invite us, Ding Jiyi said through clenched teeth, emphasizing the word invite, suggesting that Jiaonan still had to listen to her. Xiao Zaijin gritted her teeth. She had no other choice but to listen to Ding Jiyi and returned home. They had no idea that Jiaonan, who had put on her makeup, was standing by the window with Shi Qing, watching the scene. They were blocked by the curtains and there were a lot of trees in the surrounding area. Therefore, no one could spot the two of them by the window. The two women are shameless. Shi Qing shouted in disdain. How can they be so thick-skinned to come at this time? Aren't they ashamed of themselves? What's strange about this? As long as they can stand to gain, being shameless doesn't mean anything to them. She was getting married to Brother Zai. It was a big occasion in the quad. Everyone was speculating about her dowry. Given Xiao Zaijin's personality, she would definitely find a chance to know the amount of dowry and bride price that she had. After all, to Xiao Zaijin, everything that Jiaonan had belonged to her. Xiao Zaijin wanted to know her newly added fortune lest Jiaonan keep some for herself. Shi Qing lifted the corners of her lips. He who is shameless is invincible. I have to hand it to Xiao Zaijin. She had never seen an elder sister who treated the younger sister's dowry as her own and would use all means and ways to find out what her dowry was. Did she think that the Zhu family and the Zai family are pushovers? No. In her eyes, I am like a rabbit, an easy target. Nobody could stop Jiaonan from giving anything to Xiao Zaijin. Xiao Zaijin was thinking of coercing her to share her dowry with her. The problem is the rabbit would bite when driven to desperation. Furthermore, how could Jiaonan be an easy target? She must be kidding. The groom is here to pick up the bride. Putting aside the unhappy thoughts, time flew past and soon, it was 10 in the morning. It was the auspicious hour and Zai Sheng, who was dressed in his military uniform, came in the jeep, stopping in front of the Zhu family's residence. All the children in the quad jumped about happily. The Zai family had come prepared. They took out a bag of sweets and gave them to the children who were shouting and cheering. The children enjoyed themselves as they snatched the sweets. Zai Sheng looked magnificent and smart in his military uniform. He was suave and dashing, capturing the attention of everyone. Many of the ladies could not help but blush. The groom was indeed beyond ordinary. He was truly handsome. The most important thing was that besides having a handsome look, the ladies could not help but feel a sense of security and comfort at his righteous aura. It was as if he was their strongest support in this world. Those older ladies could only lament that they were no longer young and had lost the chance to be with him. Otherwise, they would be jealous of such a handsome groom. But since it was totally impossible between them, they could console themselves that it was just not meant to be. Some of the younger ladies in the quad blushed at the sight of Zai Sheng while others stomped their feet in frustration. The older ladies watched happily by the side, gloating at their misfortunes. Nan Nan was truly the most fortunate lady in the quad. She was getting married to such a good catch. She did not live her life in vain. It's not that easy to pick up the bride. All the ladies were envious of Jiaonan, and the groom was naturally the common enemy of all the men. Zhu Baoqiu was the first person to make things difficult for Zai Sheng. He had stifled his anger for a year and this was the time to vent his frustrations. Zai Sheng hardened his resolve. There was a determined look in his dark and deep eyes. No matter how difficult it is, I will marry her. Zai Sheng had expected Zhu Baoqiu to make things difficult for him on his wedding day. Zai Sheng suspected that this was a test from the several elders who doted on Jiaonan. If he was not able to defeat Zhu Baoqiu, he was not qualified to marry Nan Nan. What is the stupid fool up to? Shi Qing noticed that Zhu Baoqiu was blocking Zai Sheng's way to the Zhu family's residence. She could not help but feel anxious. She was the bridesmaid. She was waiting to get a red packet from Zai Sheng when he was here to pick up Jiao Nan. Shi Qing had always been bullied by Zai Sheng. She seemed miserable and pitiful. Today, it was rare that she had the chance to take revenge on Zai Sheng. My goodness, they are getting into a fight. Shi Qing widened her eyes in shock, motioning for Jiao Nan to take a look. Fortunately, Zai Sheng was in his military uniform. He unbuttoned his uniform, took off his cap, and was still able to fight with Zhu Baoqiu without being restrained by the formal wear that he wore. Everyone could tell that Zhu Baoqiu went all out, trying to defeat Zai Sheng. All his blows were vicious and ruthless. If Zai Sheng was overjoyed from getting married and let his guard down, taking a few of his punches, it would take him 10 days to half a month to recover. Especially since Zhu Baoqiu was vicious in his blows, Zai Sheng might be injured if he relaxed even the slightest and would not be able to spend his wedding night with his wife. Jiao Nan, do you think Brother Zai will be able to carry you back to the Zai family's residence today? Shi Qing could tell that something was wrong. Jiao Nan pursed her lips, blushing slightly. Zhu Baoqiu is not Brother Zai's opponent. Do you mean that you would like Brother Zai to carry you back to the Zai family's residence for the wedding night? Jiao Nan, you are no longer innocent and simple. Shi Qing had an evil smile on her face, cracking dirty jokes with Jiao Nan. If not, Zhu Baoqiu can help you knock Brother Zai down and you will be able to remain chaste for a long while. When daughters grow up, they will eventually get married and leave the house. Jiao Nan, you must be dying to get married. Nonsense. Jiao Nan made a move to spit at Shi Qing, disregarding her image. Brother Zai and I are married. It is normal for both of us to think of each other. On the day that you marry Zhu Baoqiu, you can rest assured that I will remind Brother Zai to give Zhu Baoqiu a few more blows so that you will remain chaste for a long while. Perhaps Jiao Nan was deeply affected by her previous conversation with Zai Hua. Initially, Jiao Nan was worried that after she married Zai Sheng and they were legally married, what came next would be to have children. However, she was only in her first year in college. It would be inconvenient to have a baby right now. But Jiao Nan thought otherwise after the talk with Zai Hua. It was Zai Hua's deep longing for a child that made her change her mind. She might be in her first year in college now, but she knew that she was not really 21 years old but in her 40s instead. She had the same yearning as Zai Hua, if not more than Zai Hua, which was to have a child of her own. Chapter 1102 Not that easy to get a wife. Now that Jiao Nan had decided that her goal was to get pregnant naturally, she was displeased with Zhu Baoqiu's behavior and found it unacceptable. Shi Qing might be cracking dirty jokes, but that was just empty talk. In the past 1 year, although Jiao Nan was not considered as a veteran, at least she was not a complete newbie. It was a piece of cake to deal with Shi Qing, who was not even considered to be a newbie. Shi Qing liked Zhu Baoqiu and intended to start a relationship with him with marriage in mind. However, that was only what Shi Qing had in mind. They had yet to go into a relationship. Speaking of a married couple's life, Shi Qing, who was still a single young lady, could not help but blush. She could not wait to roll her sleeves and teach Jiao Nan a lesson. Shi Qing felt frustrated. Don't be too smug. If not for the fact that you are getting married today and I could not lay my hands on you, I would let you know what I am capable of. Haha, I knew that you can't do anything to me today, so I am fearless. Do you understand? Jiao Nan was amused. She retorted bluntly. Brother Zai has won. The onlookers watched anxiously as the two men fought with each other. Jiao Nan and Shi Qing, who were engaged in a verbal spar, were not the least worried for them. Zai Sheng proved that he was worthy of Jiao Nan's trust. He won against Zhu Baoqiu fair and square. Zhu Baoqiu's expression darkened at the outcome. After being lectured by his father, Zhu Baoqiu always believed that what he lacked was luck. He was acquainted with Jiao Nan and he spent more time with Jiao Nan than Zai Sheng did. As he was younger and not as strong or capable, he was unable to help Jiaonan or protect her when she encountered problems and difficulties. Zai Sheng won in terms of age. He was a few years older than him and had more time to prove himself to be worthy of Jiaonan. He always wanted to prove that Jiaonan could rely on him. However, in the end, he failed. Zhu Baoqiu pulled a long face and patted the dust on his clothes. He had an evil look in his eyes. I treat Xiao Qiao as my sister. Since you want to marry Xiao Qiao, I have to test whether you are capable of protecting Xiao Qiao. I am really sorry that I was too serious in the fight and I have dirtied your clothes. I hope you can understand. He did not believe that Zai Sheng would dare to stand beside Xiao Qiao in the dirty clothes of his. Zai Sheng had won the fight, but his clothes were dirty, and so were Zhu Baoqiu's clothes. But Zhu Baoqiu had the advantage as this was the Zhu family's residence. If his clothes were dirty, he could change into a new set of clothes and came back within 5 minutes. But it was different for Zai Sheng. He could either pick up Jiaonan in his dirty clothes or go back to change his clothes before picking up Jiaonan. However, in that case, he would have missed the auspicious hour. It's all right. Since you treat Nan Nan as your sister, you can be considered as my brother-in-law as well. It is not a big issue that the clothes are dirty. I can change into a new set of clothes. Without another word, Zai Sheng took off his outer clothes, leaving a thin white shirt on him. One of the groomsmen took out a green military uniform that was brand new and handed it to Zai Sheng for him to put on. 3 seconds ago, Zai Sheng looked dirty and disheveled, but he changed into a new outfit within seconds and tidied up himself. He was once again the handsome and dashing groom. Zai Sheng knew that Zhu Baoqiu was interested in Jiaonan even before he realized it. If Zai Sheng could not anticipate that Zhu Baoqiu would be up to this trick today, Zai Sheng would not have ended up as the man who married Jiaonan. The groom is brilliant. It's time to pick up the bride. Everyone, including the children and the adults, chanted for Zai Sheng to pick up the bride as soon as possible. The groom had come all prepared to pick up the bride. Zhu Baoqiu flushed with anger and turned green with rage. He wished that he could grab Zai Sheng by the collar and fight it out with him. How dared he not admit that he had received a benefit? Zhu Qingqi appeared silently from nowhere and stood in front of Zhu Baoqiu. Today is Nan Nan's wedding. Change your clothes now. We still have to send Nan Nan off. I know, Zhu Baoqiu replied, disheartened. This was his last chance to defeat Zai Sheng, but he failed in the end. Xi Peng walked forward. Zai Sheng, don't be too overjoyed. It will not be easy to pick up the bride. Xi Peng knew that it would not be easy to get past his daughter. As a soldier, I am not afraid of overcoming challenges. Nothing was as difficult as the 5 years of long wait for Nan Nan to reach the legal age. As his master, he naturally understood Zai Sheng's hidden meaning. He had a sly smile on his face as he accompanied Zai Sheng upstairs to pick up the bride. Zai Sheng pursed the corners of his lips at the tightly shut door. I am here to pick up the bride. Do you want to pick up the bride? Fine. Shi Qing was gloating from the other side of the door. Jiaonan is fair and beautiful. She has a lot of admirers. I have to know whether you are capable of protecting Jiaonan and chasing the lechers away. Why don't you do 100 push UPS first? If she had the time and the chance, Shi Qing wanted to get back at Zai Sheng for torturing her and making her go through all the arduous training in the army. She could make use of this chance to make Zai Sheng go through all of them. Of course, it was only her fantasy. It was not likely that she could implement it. Brother Zai, I must remind you that time is limited. If you take your time to do 100 push UPS, you may not be able to pick up Jiaonan today. Shi Qing wanted to make it all the more challenging by giving Zai Sheng a time limit. Since Zai Sheng was from the army and he was one of the best special armed forces back then, it was not a big deal to do 100 push UPS. The problem was Zai Sheng had just fought with Zhu Baoqiu. Zhu Baoqiu was out to make a fool out of Zai Sheng in front of everyone. Therefore, he did not go easy with Zai Sheng during the fight. They were all men. Zhu Baoqiu knew what was on Zai Sheng's mind after he married Qiao Nan. He did not care if his methods were useful or not. He was determined to drain Zai Sheng of his strength and energy through all means and ways. Zhu Baoqiu knew that it was not up to him to control what would happen after their marriage, and he had to stop himself from thinking about that. Shi Qing had the same sentiments as Zhu Baoqiu. Shi Qing only had one motive in mind. Zai Sheng bullied her and was harsh with her since a long time ago. She was not a man, but she knew that men only had one goal in mind when they were with their loved ones. Qiao Nan was as fresh and tempting as a young flower. It was torturous if he had her by his side, but he could not do anything at all. Even if Zhu Baoqiu and Shi Qing did not discuss beforehand, it was fascinating that they were thinking of the same thing. Shi Qing knew that 100 push UPS were an easy feat to Zai Sheng. But she was determined to torture Zai Sheng with these antics. Chapter 1103 Father and Son-in-Law Competition. Well, today, Zai Sheng was the groom and she was the bridesmaid involved in the gate crashing. Today was the time to requite like for like. Seeing that his daughter was having so much fun, Shi Peng felt helpless and rubbed his forehead. This disciple of his did not have a very good temper. He would not seek revenge for the slightest grievance, but he was certainly not very benevolent. He hoped that his daughter knew her limits and would not go overboard. Otherwise, if Zai Sheng were to recall this and seek revenge later on, his foolish daughter would be the one down on her luck. Shi Qing was also a smart and eccentric one. She not only requested Zai Sheng to do 100 push UPS but also shot him many strange questions and insisted Zai Sheng to reply in front of everyone. Fortunately, Zai Sheng was a soldier and extremely fit. Otherwise, the 100 push UPS would possibly ruin the wedding, let alone those strange questions that Shi Qing posed. After she was stuffed with a big red packet, Shi Qing knitted her brows and opened the door reluctantly. First, there was not much time left. Second, Shi Qing's brain power was limited. She could not think of further questions to continue to make things difficult for Zai Sheng. This is the last stage. Please find the shoes of the bride. When she said that, Shi Qing raised her brows. Obviously, the hiding place of this pair of shoes was Shi Qing's last magic weapon. One round of fight, 100 push UPS in a place full of crowd. Even though the weather was chilly in spring, Zai Sheng was also perspiring profusely. Zai Sheng's thin lips formed a straight line. He gave a grim smile as he glanced at Shi Qing, giving a very obvious threat. When one was out in society, she had to pay back what was owed eventually. Shi Qing was not married yet. However, today's matter had destined that Shi Qing's other half would be very unlucky on the day of her marriage. Until the arrival of that day, Zai Sheng discovered that he had dealt with his two enemies together in one day. Zai Sheng's time in the army was not spent in vain. He did not have many capabilities but superb observation skills. Many people were looking on as they crowded outside the bridal chamber. Zai Sheng looked as if he was searching for Qiao Nan's shoes in the room, but in fact, his pair of eyes was staring at Shi Qing all the time to observe her reaction. When he was searching all around, Shi Qing looked very arrogant and her tails almost touched the sky. Zai Sheng's expression looked more at ease then. He was no longer searching at the four corners of the room. Instead, he searched for the shoes on the bed that Qiao Nan was sitting on. All of a sudden, there was a flash of anxiousness in Shi Qing's eyes. When Zai Sheng's hands reached the surface of the bed, Shi Qing looked more at ease again. As such, Zai Sheng did not even need to test Shi Qing the third time. He walked in front of Qiao Nan and gently lifted a little of the rim of the wedding dress that Qiao Nan was wearing. True enough, wasn't there a pair of red shoes hidden under Qiao Nan's pair of fair and tiny feet? This hiding place was really shrewd. It was completely concealed. Crap! Looking at her watch, Zai Sheng only spent less than 3 minutes to find this pair of shoes. Shi Qing was still very pleased with herself earlier as she felt that this was the greatest tactic. Brother Zai, did you cheat? Upon saying that, Shi Qing even cast a suspicious look at Xiao Nan. However, Xiao Nan had a red veil covering her head at this moment and she could not see Shi Qing. She could guess some of Shi Qing's thoughts from the latter's tone though. Ha ha ha, bridesmaid. This won't do. The bride is just sitting there. She can't even move. It's impossible for her to provide any hint to the groom. All of us are watching. The groom is really brilliant. Groom, quickly help the bride wear the shoes. It's time to carry her to your house. Zai Sheng was also anxious at heart. When he heard that, he glanced coldly at Shi Qing and expressed that today's matter was not considered over. He then knelt, held Xiao Nan's feet, and helped her wear the shoes. It's winter now. Why aren't you wearing any socks? Zai Sheng's heart ached. He could feel that Xiao Nan's feet were cold when he touched them. Zai Sheng's heart ached. Of course, he blamed it on Shi Qing again. It's warmer inside the house. It's all right. Xiao Nan, whose head was covered by a red veil, could not see very clearly. She could only see a faint figure. Her eyes could not see well. As such, her other senses became more sensitive. In contrast with Xiao Nan's cold feet, Zai Sheng's entire body felt so hot since he had been fighting and doing push-ups. Her cold feet were held by Zai Sheng. Xiao Nan felt itchy and embarrassed. If not for the fact that she was aware that many people were watching them, and the earlier she wore the shoes, the better, she would not be able to control her desire to hide. Come, let's go. After helping Xiao Nan wear the pair of shoes, Zai Sheng carried Xiao Nan swiftly. His posture of carrying her in his arms was perfect. At the sight of this, the men blocking the entrance whistled. When the ladies heard that, they could not stop laughing while covering their mouths. After leaving the bridal chamber, they went to the living room. Two men were already sitting in the hall. One of them was Jiao Dongliang and the other Zhu Chenqi. As for Ding Ji, there was no place for her today. Immediately, someone took out two soft cushions and placed them on the floor. Zai Sheng and Xiao Nan took a cushion each and knelt. Jiao Dongliang took a deep breath. There were tears in his eyes. Zai Sheng, henceforth, I will hand Nan Nan over to you. You are also aware. Nan Nan did not have a good life in the past. I am aware too. But I have never done well enough. Don't be like me. Nan Nan and you have to live on well. She was married. She was truly married. After today, Nan Nan would belong to the Zai family. She would not be his daughter anymore. At the thought of this, Xiao Dongliang felt his heart ached. It was as if a chunk of flesh had been cut from his heart. Unfortunately, he had to part with her no matter how much he could not bear to. Dad, don't worry. I won't let anyone, including myself, bully Nan Nan. Of course, that would include the father-in-law sitting right before his eyes. Zhu Chenqi did not show much expression, his eyes looking sharp and stern. Bully? It is not so easy to bully my family. Zhu Chenqi was different from Xiao Dongliang. If the Zai family were to bully Xiao Nan, Zhu Chenqi definitely had the capability to seek justice for Xiao Nan. He was unlike Xiao Dongliang, who could only say a few useless words and would be of no help at all. It was easy for one to have a change of heart. Who did not know how to speak pleasant words? Zhu Chenqi believed in his own capability more. In the face of absolute power, one had to go through him first if they had the gumption to treat his words as a fart. As such, although Xiao Dongliang sounded like a benevolent father, this biological father paled in comparison to Zhu Chenqi and his words. Thank you, Godfather, for your reminder. He had been threatened. Zai Sheng's brows moved slightly but he did not lose his temper. The auspicious time has arrived. Groom, quickly fetch your bride home. The fathers and son-in-law trio looked indifferent as they had exchanges with one another. Chapter 1104 Comparing the Dowry. Qiao Dongliang was weakest while Zhu Qinqi and Zai Sheng were on par with each other. All of a sudden, the atmosphere turned a little stiff. Fortunately, the money spent on the MC was well worth it. Seeing that the situation was not quite right, the MC smiled and reminded everyone about the next steps. The groom had given a lot of red packets and gone through trials and tribulations. Naturally, the final stage was to carry his beautiful bride home. Right, fetch the bride home. We are looking forward to the banquet. The distance between the house of the Zhu family and the Zai family was so short that they did not even need to use a fleet of cars. However, to go through the motion as part of the ceremony, the bridal car still drove out from the main entrance of the Zhu family, out of the courtyard, and did a turn before going to the house of the Zai family in the quad. Many people were in awe at the sight of the bridal car. Putting other things aside, this fleet of bridal cars was extremely upscale. If a woman had such a wedding, she had not wasted her life. Besides the fleet of bridal cars that were the envy of many, the dowry that did not seem to cost money was shifted to the house of the Zai family prior, like ants moving house. That was also a sight of envy for many people. Tisk. Is the Qiao family so rich? They prepared so many dowries for Nan Nan. Did old Qiao win the lottery? Even if he sells the family's house, he can't cough out all these dowries. Whoever marries Qiao Nan is striking it rich with the dowry alone. Many people felt the pinch and said that they had known that Qiao Nan had so many dowries and that they should have taken advantage of their favorable position. After all, their children had many opportunities to play with Qiao Nan when they were young. Given the dowry, it was already worth it to marry Qiao Nan. Qiao Nan was also so good in her studies, and she was the second most promising child in the quad. It was really. At the thought that other families' child was so different from their own, all of a sudden, there was an indescribable feeling in these parents' hearts. Although they could not describe it, many people were having the same thoughts at this very moment. It seemed that Qiao Nan did not marry into a better family. Both families were compatible. Every word of these people was transmitted into the ears of Ding Ji and Qiao Zijin. Qiao Zijin was extremely angry and jealous. She dug her fingers into her palms and her skin was torn. It was no wonder they forbade her to enter the house of the Zhu family and refused to let her take a look at the dowry. It was because her father and Qiao Nan were guilty conscious. She had really underestimated her father's capability. Zijin. Ding Ji's heart ached as she looked at Qiao Zijin's hands. Don't feel bad or make things difficult for yourself. There is no need to do so. In the future, you will definitely be more glorious than today. Qiao Zijin felt the pinch while Ding Ji's heart ached so much that she could not breathe well. There were so many dowries. How much money had been spent? How great would it be if the money could fall into her hands? She could buy anything for Zijin. She could even settle the purchase for half a house. No? I am all right. Qiao Zijin loosened her hands and flung them. I was just muddled by anger for a moment. In the recent few days, unless the person did not have a mouth, everyone in the quad had been discussing Zai Sheng and Qiao Nan's marriage. When she heard others exclaiming the good fortune of Qiao Nan, Qiao Zijin seemed to have been fed with explosives every day. She was irritable and emotionally unstable. Shh, Ding Ji tugged at Qiao Zijin. This is not our house. Don't talk nonsense. If anyone were to hear Zijin's words, many would be waiting to watch her and Zijin become a laughingstock. Let's go home first. There was such a long queue of people helping move the dowry for Qiao Nan. Ding Ji did not wish to look at them anymore. She was fearful that this would hurt her eyes and body, that she would feel more upset. Before these items entered the house of the Zai family, be it the items themselves or to exchange them for money, Ding Ji was still quite confident in getting some of them into her own pocket. However, at this point, Ding Ji realized that no matter how valuable Qiao Nan's dowry was, it did not have anything to do with her. She dared not offend the Zai family. No, I want to stand here. Qiao Zijin refused to budge. Ding Ji was angry and she tugged on Qiao Zijin. Don't you feel upset looking at it? Upset? The more upset I feel, the more I want to watch. These are branded items. I definitely have to remember them. When I get married in the future, I cannot lose to Jiao Nan. She must have the same or more dowry than Jiao Nan. If she did not remember what happened today, how could she open her mouth to request these items from her father? Clearly, Qiao Zijin was so upset that she wanted to leave the place, but she had to force herself to open her eyes wide and remember the items that formed Jiao Nan's dowry and the quantity. Even if the value of the items were not the same, at the very least, the quantity had to be the same. There are so many items. How are you going to remember them? Ding Ji felt that Qiao Zijin's words were simply a joke. Not to mention remembering everything, she already could not recall exactly how many items had been moved into the house of the Zai family a while ago. Qiao Zijin gritted her teeth. Mom, if that is the case, quickly make a trip home. No matter what kind of method you use, bring me a pen and paper at your fastest speed. I have to note them down. Her mother was right. Qiao Nan had too much dowry. Her memory was not that good. It would not go wrong only if she were to note them down with pen and paper. Qiao Zijin was so insistent. Ding Ji could only listen to Qiao Zijin although she felt that it was not necessary to do so. She simply spent a little bit of money and bought some paper and pen from the small retail shop and passed them to Qiao Zijin. The pen and paper came a little late. When Qiao Zijin started to note down the items, the mother-daughter pair had already forgotten almost 1/3 of the dowry items. Nevertheless, the remaining 2/3 of the dowry also made Qiao Zijin's hands feel tired after noting them down. Ding Ji, Nan is getting married today. Why are Zijin and you still at your doorsteps? Nan didn't invite the two of you to the banquet. The mother-daughter pair was occupying one position each and secretly making notes. Their motive was too obvious. Naturally, people had discovered what they were doing. This was such a bustling scene. Ding Ji was standing with Qiao Zijin as if she did not have anything to do with the situation. She was also exclaiming with them about Jiao Nan's dowry. That was really too strange. Ding Ji, Nan is so successful. I think it's better that you sort out your thoughts. Don't do any more harm to Nan. You are destined to have no son in this lifetime. Don't lose such a good daughter in the end. Ha ha ha. It's not that we don't know what kind of person Ding Ji is. What's the big deal of losing one daughter? Most probably, her heart aches most that she had lost so much money. Ding Ji's face turned pale. What has it got to with all of you? Instead of being a busybody and eating fart, why don't you go home and worry about those incompetent sons of yours? It was no wonder that Ding Ji reacted so strongly. Everyone was from the same quad but there were differences in strengths of character. Ding Ji's temper was not good. In the quad, there were a few neighbors that she could get along better with. Naturally, there were also some neighbors that she disliked. Chapter 1105 Comparing Husbands. As they were aware that Ding Ji wanted sons, these few neighbors often used the topic of son to agitate and mock Ding Ji. After the occurrence of Jiao Nan's matter, these neighbors deliberately came over to watch Ding Ji make a fool of herself. Although these people seemed to be speaking good words and providing good advice, they might not have kind intentions. Ding Ji was well aware of this. As such, she couldn't possibly take such hypocrisy in stride. Bah, what a shameless fool! You don't want such a good daughter. I will wait and see how good your future life will be by relying on your precious darling. The neighbors were not pleased either. Regardless of their thoughts, they were not wrong in their words. This was unlike Ding Ji, whose words were not only ugly but also boorish. Ding Ji, you show favoritism toward Qiao Zijin and don't treat Jiao Nan well at all. Was Jiao Nan picked up on the streets by old Jiao and you? Given your behavior, we cannot tell that you are Nan's biological mother at all. What biological mother? Since she doesn't treat Nan Nan as her biological mother, Nan Nan may not have this mother in her heart too. We're in for a good show. The power and wealth that was within her easy reach were gone. Given Ding Jiyi's character, this was worse than dying for Ding Jiyi. Today, so many people were fawning on and praising Jiao Nan. In contrast to Jiao Nan, who had been flattered as if she was from heaven, Ding Jiyi had been shot with ugly and infuriating words from the few extremely sharp-tongued aunties. Moreover, each of their words was directed at Ding Jiyi. In stark contrast with the limelight on Jiao Nan was the scoff on Ding Jiyi that was marked with sarcasm. Ding Jiyi was so agitated. She wished that she had never given birth to Jiao Nan, this unfilial daughter. "Mom, the bridal car fleet should be arriving soon. Should we proceed to the house of the Zai family for the wedding banquet? No matter what, the one getting married today is my biological sister." Xiao Zijin spoke. Most likely, she had finished noting down the dowry. "Mom, don't drivel with these people. Don't you feel hungry after talking so much? The wedding banquet organized by the Zai family does not welcome any Tom, Dick, or Harry. The Zai family had so many formidable friends and relatives. Certainly, they would not invite any Tom, Dick, or Harry to their house for the banquet. These people were, at most, good at quarreling and using their mouths. In reality, what else were they good at? Right. What you have said is correct. Ding Jiyi was at the top of her anger. Today, my daughter is getting married. The main entrance of the house of the Zai family welcomes my attendance. This door is not open for anyone on the streets. Ha ha ha, so shameless. Instead of feeling angry, the neighbors laughed with amusement. A few days ago, which mad woman was shouting and yelling at the main door of the house of the Zai family? In the end, her voice even turned hoarse. Yet, she did not manage to meet the family. This is truly a very successful biological mother, one who is dignified. Wonderful. Why are we driveling with this kind of people? Do you think such a good child like Nan Nan will be as stuck up as her? Nan Nan has already said. She grew up in the quad and received so much care from us over the years. She is getting married. Of course, as old neighbors, we are privileged to attend her wedding banquet. In terms of handling interpersonal relationships, Nan Nan is a lot more successful than her biological mother. Who exactly is the mother, and who is the daughter? Isn't that so? I have prepared a big red packet for Nan Nan. This child is very pitiful. Fortunately, she is also very blessed. Yes, yes. Her biological mother doesn't dote on her. As aunties and grandmothers, we should take more care of her. What is happening? What do you mean? Each and every of the neighbors' words, flaunting their prowess, went into Ding Jiyi's ears. How is it possible that you are fit to attend this wedding banquet? Nan Nan invited us. Why can't we do so? Nan Nan is getting married. As a mother, you don't even know what is happening, yet you still have the shame to mention this. How embarrassing! Nan Nan is someone with a conscience. Otherwise, why do you think the canopy is set up in such a way? Having finished their words, these people were really unwilling to bother about Ding Jiyi anymore. They did not expect that, as the bride's biological mother, Ding Jiyi's knowledge of the situation was not more than that of them, the neighbors. It was obvious that Ding Jiyi's attitude to Jiao Nan had not changed at all, although 4 to 5 years had passed. Jiao Nan did not have many feelings left for this mother. After figuring out this situation, the neighbors felt that poking any more fun at Ding Jiyi would be a waste of their time. There was no need for them to bother about such people. She deserved it. Xiao Zijin's expression changed. Mom, did Jiao Nan really invite everyone in the quad to the banquet? She did not believe it. When she was a child, she was clearly the one who was being praised the most in the quad. She was labeled as the most obedient child. Now, many of her childhood playmates and former classmates from junior and senior high school looked down on her. They were all unwilling to talk to her, and they rolled their eyes as soon as they saw her. Xiao Zijin had always thought that the residents from the northern district of the Quad would feel envious of her or bitter that they did not have the chance to participate in the wedding banquet organized by the Zai family. When the time came, she would lift her chest and walk into the southern side of the Quad in front of the envy eyes of those childhood friends. She would attend the wedding banquet that they were not eligible to. Although she had a very poor relationship with Xiao Nan, she was still Xiao Nan's biological sister. Xiao Nan could not kick her away at such times. She could still enjoy the limelight and be proud of it. Xiao Zijin had it all planned, but the blow of reality was too great. The bride is here. The bride is here. Before Xiao Zijin could come to her senses and receive a response from Ding Ji, she heard the children's shouts and cheers. The bride is so pretty. Sister Nan Nan, you're so pretty. Your clothes are so beautiful. Yes, yes. Sister Nan Nan is so pretty. Clearly, Xiao Nan was wearing a veil that covered her head. Nevertheless, children's minds were pure. They felt that the bride was the most beautiful person on earth. They did not even see Xiao Nan's face, but the words of praises popped out from their tiny sweet mouths as if those words did not cost any money. There was so much joy. It was rare that even Zai Sheng, this ice mountain, melted. He took the red packets from his hand and distributed them to those sweet-tongued children. It was as if the wedding sweets did not cost money. They were continuously stuffed into the hands of the old and young friends in the Quad. Very soon, with the joyous atmosphere, everyone had almost forgotten about their unhappiness with Ding Ji. They were immersed in the event and even squeezed the mother-daughter pair, Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin, to the back of the crowd. The sharp-eyed Xiao Zijin could clearly tell that the phoenix coronet and robes that Xiao Nan was wearing today was that beautiful and elegant dress that she and her father saw when they were at the house of the Zhu family. Xiao Zijin clenched her fists and punched her thighs a few times. She silently vowed to remember the total number of sets of clothes that Xiao Nan changed into on this wedding day. On the day that she married Chen Jun, she must have one more set of clothes than Xiao Nan. Xiao Zijin was taking it very seriously. She really wanted to make comparisons in everything, including the clothes. Xiao Zijin, who was beyond self-redemption, forgot to compare one thing, the husband. If Xiao Zijin could compare her husband with that of Xiao Nan, that was true capability then. Chapter 1106 The Hateful Daughter-in-Law. They are here. Zai Hua heard the commotions and checked to see where it came from like a military intelligence soldier. She could make out a blur of red and green in the faraway distance. Zai Hua recognized Xiao Nan as the person in red and the person in green to be her brother. Zai Yaowai looked solemn while Miaojing was exhilarated. Seeing the excited look on Miaojing's face, Zai Yaowai held her hand, calming her down. The daughter-in-law was being led by their son into the house. She would not run away. She would definitely be part of their family. There was no need for Miao Miao to be so agitated. As soon as the bride and groom walked past the entrance of the Zai family's residence, two groups of people who stood by either side of the door set off firecrackers. Ribbons and flower petals floated in the air and dropped onto Xiao Nan and Zai Sheng as well as the bridesmaid and the best man. With her head covered by a red veil, Xiao Nan stepped into the Zai family's residence once again, turning teary at this once-in-a-lifetime moment. She knew that this time was different from the multiple times that she entered the house in the past. Once she entered the house today, she would be part of the Zai family. Apart from the Qiao family, she had other relatives who cared for and loved her. All of them were sincere toward her and would treat her well. Bow to heaven and earth. Zai Sheng and Xiao Nan adopted Chinese traditional rituals for their wedding. Therefore, they followed the customs to bow to heaven and earth. Nowadays, most couples would follow the Western wedding rituals. It was rare to see this type of Chinese traditional wedding ceremony. Therefore, it was all the more fascinating and special. As the master of ceremonies shouted to send the newlyweds into the bridal room, the youngsters started to shout and howl. The guests could not help but feel embarrassed, knowing that the youngsters meant to banter with and play pranks on the newlyweds. In her 2 lifetimes, this was the first time that Jiao Nan was married. She knew of this custom and had, in fact, read a lot of negative news regarding this custom. Jiao Nan could not help but panic. What kind of pranks did the people of Pingcheng use to play on the newlyweds? Did they play pranks on the bride? Zai Sheng edged closer to Jiao Nan, giving her assurance and a sense of security. Sure enough, without waiting for Zai Sheng to say anything, Shi Qing, who was beautifully dressed like a lady, shouted, "Quiet down! Who is itching for a fight? I am the bridesmaid today. I will take all the pranks that you have prepared." Everyone quieted down at Shi Qing's shouts. Among the people present, some were comrades from the army who were very close to Zai Sheng, and some were his childhood friends from the quad who grew up together with him. All of them were friends with Zai Sheng. Even if they were busy today, they would make time to attend his wedding. Many of them did not know Jiao Nan, the bride, but they all knew Shi Qing, the female monster. If Zai Hua was hailed as the big sister, Shi Qing would be next in line. Especially after Shi Qing joined the army, most of the time, Zai Hua would bring Shi Qing around with her. Many people were saying that Zai Hua had handed down her teachings to Shi Qing and that they were similar in temperament. They were domineering and valiant, and men would treat them as their leaders and big brothers. Faced with such women who were stronger than all of them, they could not afford to offend them. All of the young men from reputable family backgrounds turned green and did not dare to misbehave in front of Shi Qing. Ha 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 ha! Shi Qing, you are truly taught by me. Zai Hua was proud of Shi Qing. Most of the children from the quad were ill-disciplined and out of control. Zai Hua was proud that she was the nemesis of this ill-disciplined bunch of people. Everything is all right now. I will send Nan Nan back to the room. Zai Sheng had anticipated that this would happen, so he was the least worried that his friends and comrades would play pranks on the newlyweds. Zai Sheng had arranged for Shi Qing to act as his first line of defense while Zai Hua would be his final line of defense, acting as his critical strike. With Zai Hua around, it was hard to tell who would be pranked. Shi Qing was to give them a warning, telling them to know their limits and to stop fooling around. By the time it was Zai Hua's turn, they would have to suffer under her hands. Zai Sheng, today is your wedding and you are getting a wife. We are here to bring luck and fortune to you. What you are doing is too unfair. Among all the children from the quad, Zai Sheng might seem to be the best behaved child, but he was actually the cheekiest and naughtiest child. Many of his friends had suffered under his hands in the past. They were thinking of taking their revenge on the day of Zai Sheng's wedding. However, Zai Sheng, the sly fox, already arranged for Shi Qing and Zai Hua to stop them from pranking the newlyweds. There was something that they feared the most. It was the tigress. Scram! Shi Qing raised her hand. Brother Zai, take care of your friends. I will send Jiao Nan to the bridal room. It was fine if they played pranks on Brother Zai, but she would not allow them to play pranks on Jiao Nan. In fact, Shi Qing was telling the bunch of people that they had targeted the wrong person. As long as their target was Zai Sheng, not only would she not stop them, but she would also give them a helping hand. You're right. Make him drink. Make him drink. Zai Sheng, come over here. Let's drink. Tell me. How did you manage to get that beautiful wife of yours? Zai Sheng seemed to be immune to feminine wiles. To him, all the other women were similar to his soldiers. He was solemn and serious. However, once he was enlightened, he managed to snare a young, budding flower. At the thought that the bride was only a first-year college student, Zai Sheng's friends chanted and cheered even louder. Sister-in-law? Crap, shameless. The Zai family's residence was located nearby and there was a huge commotion at the southern side of the quad. Even if Jiao Zijin attended the wedding banquet at the northern side of the quad, she could still hear loud sounds where Zai Sheng's friends addressed Jiao Nan as the sister-in-law. Qiao Zijin fumed in anger and lost her appetite despite the table full of sumptuous food. Those who addressed Jiao Nan as their sister-in-law used to snort at her when they walked past her in the quad. Even when Qiao Zijin was in her glorious state, she was only the most outstanding child in the northern quad. Qiao Zijin had to lower her head when she was around the people from the southern quad. She behaved as if she was the aggrieved young daughter-in-law. Qiao Zijin used to think that the privileged children from the southern quad would never accept Jiao Nan, who came from a humble background. The Zai family might have gone crazy and lost their minds, but the people from the southern quad couldn't behave like them. There had to be a few rational people among them. These people would definitely make things difficult for Jiao Nan on such a special day. However, the scene that Qiao Zijin had been anticipating did not unfold. Instead, all she could hear were loud shouts, addressing Jiao Nan as the sister-in-law. This was different from what she imagined. The shouts got louder and louder. Qiao Zijin felt that she seemed to be engulfed in flames of fury. She could not take it anymore. In this way, everyone in the quad knew that not only had the Zai family accepted Jiao Nan, but the people from the southern quad had accepted Jiao Nan as well. A ritual kneeling by the bride and groom as part of a Chinese traditional wedding ceremony. Chapter 1107, Don't Be So Sure. From this moment on, Jiao Nan truly was part of the southern quad. Zijin, have more of the food. Ding Jiyi noticed that her daughter did not look too well. She did not want other people to laugh at them, so she kept putting food into her bowl. The food was indeed delicious. One could not have such good food outside. It was a waste not to have them. Ding Jiyi found it a pity that she was seated at the northern quad instead of the southern quad. Ding Jiyi was unhappy and perplexed that Zai Sheng and Qiao Nan invited many of the neighbors from the northern quad to the wedding banquet. It was such a waste of money. If Qiao Nan had so much money and had more to spare, Qiao Nan should give them to her. She would make sure to spend all the money. Ding Jiyi did not spare a thought for Qiao Nan. The Qiao family did not have any relatives. Although Ding Jiyi's relatives were still around, she was estranged with them. She was in a similar situation as Qiao Dongliang. Therefore, Qiao Nan did not have any relatives who could attend the wedding banquet. If the newlyweds did not invite the neighbors from the northern quad to the wedding banquet, Qiao Nan would be the laughingstock of the quad for not inviting any relatives. Of course I will eat them. Qiao Zijin could feel the stern and unfriendly gazes that were directed at her. However, she could not contain her anger and was aggrieved at the thought that Jiao Nan was basking in glory. To be honest, Jiao Nan and Zai Sheng had such a smooth wedding. They did not encounter any obstacles. Her thoughts drifted to her relationship with Chen Jun. It was not simply based on love. There were many other agendas and motives. Qiao Zijin was angry that her love life was not smooth sailing. Not only was her father biased toward Jiao Nan, but even heaven was also biased. Heaven was too nice to Jiao Nan. Why did heaven gift Jiao Nan with all the good encounters while it was so stingy with her? Zijin, what did the Chen family say about today's wedding? After the meal, Ding Jiyi went back to the Qiao family's residence together with Qiao Zijin. They were denied entry to the southern quad, but Qiao Dongliang was able to attend the wedding banquet at the southern quad. Ding Jiyi and Qiao Zijin had intended to kick up a fuss so that the Zai family would be left with no choice but to allow them into the southern quad. Qiao Nan invited all the neighbors from the northern quad to the wedding banquet, treating them as her parental family. She was also well known for being the top student in the middle school examination and the college entrance examination. Everyone in the quad was willing to give face to Jiao Nan. Even if Ding Jiyi and Qiao Zijin made a din at the wedding, their neighbors would not be bothered with them. Their futile attempts would only make them a laughingstock. The Chen family's goal was to be on close terms with Jiao Nan and in turn, build a strong tie with the Zai family. Today was Zai Sheng's and Qiao Nan's wedding. Ding Jiyi was worried. How should she answer if the Chen family wanted to attend the wedding banquet? If the Chen family was denied entry to the southern quad and had to have a meal at the northern quad, she would be thoroughly embarrassed. Qiao Zijin's expression darkened. Don't worry. They did not say anything. How is that possible? Did they not want to be on close terms with the Zai family? Ding Jiyi asked in disbelief. The Chen family did not seem to be easygoing people. She remembered how the Chen family had trailed right behind Qiao Dongliang, following him all the way to the Shi family's residence. Qiao Zijin sighed. Chen Jun is smart and he is the only son in his family. His parents will listen to him. She might have disregarded everything to make a din, but Chen Jun would not do that. He was prideful. He would not do such foolish deeds. Unless she had gotten a definite answer from Qiaonan beforehand, Chen Jun would not take the risk to make a din at the wedding with her and allowed the Chen family to be laughed at by everyone. Qiao Zijin felt that she seemed to be sending the helve after the hatchet. She did not have any self-respect in front of Qiaonan. Since that was the case, she would rather take the plunge to achieve her aim. Sadly, she might have given her all until now, but she did not achieve any of her goals. Ding Jiyi seemed disheartened. Zijin, you have seen the situation today. Qiaonan has consolidated her position in the Zai family. What do you intend to do in the future? The wretched girl would not make any allowances for the needs of her relatives. It was useless to create a din. Divorce? Given today's situation, it was hard to tell when Zai Sheng would divorce that wretched girl. All that said, when faced with the reality, Ding Jiyi had to admit that the truth was far from what they had imagined. Qiao Zijin was fuming mad, her nostrils flaring with anger. Consolidated her position? Don't be so sure. One's luck will run out eventually. I don't believe that she will be lucky forever. So what if the people from the southern quad had accepted Qiaonan? They might have accepted her on account of Zai Sheng. Nevertheless, let's wait and see how her life would turn out in the future. Today was Qiaonan's and Zai Sheng's wedding. Apart from Qiao Zijin, there was another woman who was in a foul mood. Unlike Qiao Zijin, she was allowed entry to the southern quad, and because of this, she felt even more frustrated and aggrieved than Qiao Zijin. Why did we come back here? Qi Minlin did not know what to do with her daughter. It is better if we don't come back. Coming back will only make you feel worse. In the past, you didn't. Qi Minlin felt that she and her daughter must have committed a lot of evil deeds to have to go through the same sufferings. Back then, she was not really in love with Zai Yaowai. But after Zai Yaowai married Miao Jing, she refused to give up on him. Although her daughter was more serious in the relationship than her, Qi Minlin knew that Qiu Chenxai did not really love Zai Sheng. It was true that no one wanted to work on an unfertilized land, while it was the opposite in the case of a fertilized land. Ever since Qiaonan came into the picture, Qi Minlin watched helplessly as Qiu Chenxai invested more and more feelings in Zai Sheng. Qi Minlin felt painful at the sight of her daughter and was full of regrets. If she had known it would turn out like this, she would not think of ways for her daughter to be with Zai Sheng in the first place. Now that Zai Sheng married someone else and Chenxai had grown more attached to him, the pain she felt would be twice the pain she felt back then. Mom, stop it. We have already come back and I have witnessed their wedding. Qiu Chenxai patted her chest, breathless from her heartache. She could not understand why she would ask trouble for herself by coming back to Pingcheng to witness Zai Sheng's and Qiaonan's wedding. Qiu Chenxai had no idea what she wanted to prove by coming back to Pingcheng, but when she witnessed the bright smile that Zai Sheng had when he brought Qiaonan back to the Zai family's residence, her heart felt as if it was ripped to pieces. Chapter 1108, Reject those who are too open-minded. It turned out that Zai Sheng would wear this type of expression. It turned out that Zai Sheng was just an ordinary man and would be attracted to someone he loved. It turned out that like other men, Zai Sheng would be so gentle to a woman. Why was she not the woman who brought about these changes in Zai Sheng? Why was she not the woman who had his attention and love? Qiaonan was just a nobody. She was the one who grew up together with Zai Sheng. She was the one who spent her days with him. In fact, he spent most of his childhood days with her. Xiaonan had no right to snatch everything from her. Chu Chenxi was all the more unhappy when all the people in the southern quad gave Zai Sheng and Xiaonan their sincerest blessings. Chenxi, if you continue to behave in this way, I will buy the plane tickets and we will fly back to Mo Du tonight. Qi Minlin was shocked by the drastic change in her daughter. There was a distorted and ugly look on her daughter's face. She used to be gracious and ladylike. Why did she turn out to be like this? She could no longer pin her hopes on Zai Yaowai. He was no longer sorry or apologetic toward her. As for Chu Qin, who was in jail, Qi Minlin did not expect him to help her. All she hoped for was that if anything happened, instead of pestering her, Chu Qin would have self-respect and would seek the Chu family for help. Qi Minlin was already 50 years old. Her daughter was her only pillar of support. It was good enough that old Master Shi was willing to groom Chu Chenxi and treat her like his paternal grandchild. Qi Minlin would not allow Chu Chenxi to forget all his teachings because of a wedding and revert to her old ways, behaving like the willful daughter of the Chu family. If your grandpa sees the state that you are in, you should know what kind of punishment is awaiting you. Old Master Shi was very strict with Chu Chenxi. She had spent 20 years of her life leading a pampered and willful life. After she went to Mo Du, she underwent training that was overseen by old Master Shi. It seemed as if he wanted her to make up for the hardships that she did not go through in the 20 years of carefree life that she led. He made sure that she underwent tough and challenging training. Initially, the training was too difficult for Chu Chenxi to bear. It was only until later when Chu Chenxi became accustomed to old Master Shi's training did she find it more bearable. Chu Chenxi panicked at her mother's words. She pulled herself back to reality and schooled her expression. Her fierce, distorted look was gone, and in place was a slight smile and a pair of warm, dark brown eyes. She seemed approachable and friendly. This was the training that old Master Shi made Chu Chenxi go through. If Chu Chenxi wanted to succeed based on her own abilities, she had to network and build ties with other people. Once she decided to take this path, she could no longer act willful, overbearing, or do things as she pleased. She had to change her bad habits and personality. Qi Minlin sighed. When do you intend to return to Mo Du? School will reopen in a few days and Xiaonan will have to go back to school. By then, the Zai family will be moving to the capital as well. She had to admit that Xiaonan was indeed lucky and capable. Besides having good results, she also chose to study at the university in the capital. It was such a coincidence that Xiaonan had only studied in the capital for half a semester and the Zai family would be moving to the capital. The Zai family was Xiaonan's biggest and strongest support. Since the Zai family had moved to the capital, it meant that if Xiaonan was willing, she would be able to have her way in the capital. You can buy the plane ticket to return to Mo Du at noon tomorrow. Actually, she was able to leave tonight, but Chu Chenxi refused to do so. She had something to verify and prove. Okay. Since Chu Chenxi had finally come to a decision, Qi Minlin did not want her to change her mind. Without another word, she left Chu Chenxi in the house and took a taxi to book the plane tickets. The quad was bustling with activities and everyone was busy with Zai Sheng's wedding. The people in the northern quad had finished their meals slightly earlier and it was not as noisy. On the other hand, people were still talking and having fun in the southern quad. It was only when the sky was dark did the noise die down. Crap! It is Zai Sheng who is getting married, but why am I so exhausted? Zai Hua massaged her arms. She had finally gotten a load off her mind. At least, Xiaonan had finally joined their family. Miaojing was tired from maintaining her smile all day long. It may be tiring but it is a happy occasion. When you have finally settled down with Dongzi, I will have to be busy again. Given Dongzi's and your age, I suppose I won't have much rest before I prepare for the wedding. As parents, they had the most difficult time. Zai Hua was no longer young. As a man, Tian Dong was not considered young as well. In Miao Jing's opinion, the Tian family must be anxious about Tiandong's marriage as well. Once the two families came to an agreement, they would marry each other right away. There was no need to drag further. Zihua turned purple. Mom, why would you bring up Dongzi without an apparent reason? Dongzi and his family are indeed in the capital now. But even if we will be going to the capital as well, it is impossible between the two of us. When she was at a young age, she was insensible. She bullied Dongzi and played a joke on him. Her mother took it too seriously. All that said, it was Zai Sheng's fault for bringing up Dongzi. Mom, Dongzi and I are childhood friends. We are playmates and brothers. I treat all of them equally. Dongzi feels the same toward me. So many years have passed, but has Dongzi ever made a phone call to our house to contact me? Perhaps to Dongzi, I am just slightly better than a stranger. As a man with self-respect and pride, he would not want to stay in contact with or marry a lady who removed his pants. Zihua might not be a man, but if this was to happen to her, she would never do that. All of you have been thinking too much. Zai Sheng is angry that I laughed at Qiaonan and him, so he brought up Dongzi to agitate me. It is impossible between Dongzi and me. Today is Zai Sheng's and Qiaonan's wedding, but the Tian family did not show up. Besides, Dongzi used to stay in America. I heard that foreigners are more open-minded and they have complicated love relationships. Dongzi is no longer young. Even if he is single now, he may already have 2 or 3 marriages. Of course, I suppose he has had many love relationships in the past as well. Zihua was full of disdain at the mention of this. Zihua was conservative. The person that she liked must have the same trait. Otherwise, given her relationship with Wei Di, he would have already been intimate with her. Until now, Zihua was still a chaste young lady. This proved that Zihua was very cautious in her relationship with the opposite gender. Chapter 1109, A Good Man on Duty. The temperaments of all the Zai family were alike. Upon hearing her daughter's words, Miao Jing, who had been optimistic about the relationship, became hesitant. It shouldn't be. When Dongzi was a child, he was very obedient. I don't think he will engage in such messy affairs, no. Miao Jing disliked Wei Di. Of course, even if it was Tiandong, she was not willing to let her daughter get married to a divorcee with children from the preceding marriage. At this moment, old Master Zai, who had been sitting and resting, started to make his presence known. No, I have done some checks. When Dongzi was in America, he had been busy with his studies. He graduated from a double master's degree. I heard that his school is very strict and the examinations are difficult. Not to mention a double degree, one won't be able to graduate with one degree if they are not conscientious enough in their studies. Dongzi has not been married before. He doesn't have any child either. As to how many girlfriends he has in America, it's hard to say. Old Master Zai had done some checks on Tiandong. Tiandong definitely did not do any absurd matters or have second or third marriages. Nevertheless, foreigners were typically very liberal about such matters. Tiandong had been living in America for almost 20 years. No matter how good old Master Zai's impression of Tiandong was, he could not be Tiandong's guarantor regarding this aspect. What's the hurry? If that is really the case, we can look for someone else. Her age is a little older, but she is still a lady from our Zai family. At most, she can get married after 30 years old. Zai Yayawai frowned. Obviously, he could not accept certain behavior. To put it bluntly, no matter how mean Weida was, Weida and that foster sister had formally gone through a wedding banquet in front of their friends and relatives in the hometown. That's right. If this one won't do, we can look for someone else. Zihua let out a sigh of relief. When she heard her mother's tone earlier, it was as if they were going to fix her marriage date with Tiandong during their next meeting with the Tian family. What a joke! They were just childhood playmates. 20 years had passed. She did not even know how Tiandong looked like now. Was he short or fat? Or did he have any handicap now? The most amusing thing was that, if no one were to provide her with an explanation when she met Tiandong, she might not even recognize him. Under such circumstances, could she marry Tiandong? Mom, this matter cannot be rushed. The liberal thinking overseas may be beyond your imagination. Although Tiandong has never been married, our Chinese laws state that a child conceived without marriage cannot be registered under the household register. However, such regulations are absent overseas. As such, even if Tiandong has never been married, he himself may not even be certain if he has any child. In order to save herself from the ordeal, Zihua had no reservation in badmouthing Tiandong. Mom, you don't know. It's so common to have one-night stands overseas. People can sleep with each other for one night, say goodbye to each other the next morning, and then go their separate ways. They may not be able to recognize each other when they meet next time. The problem is that, you may not recognize the person but your womb may already have something. Cough, Zai Yaowai gave a dry cough. He reminded Zihua not to exaggerate. If that is really the case, this won't do. Hua really cannot be with Dongzi. Miaojing was the first to give up on Dongzi, this son-in-law. She knew that her family could not afford to have this kind of son-in-law. Tiandong did not have any child by his side now. After he married Hua, what if someone were to suddenly bring a child of mixed ethnicity to the Tian family and said that the child was the result of Tiandong's doing outside? What would happen to Hua and her future grandchild then? That would not do. Tiandong was not suitable. Old Master Zai tugged the corners of his lips. Since that is the case, we still have to note down the gifts. When Dongzi is getting married, we have to return the gifts. The Tian family sent some gifts over today. There was a flash in Miaojing's eyes. Why didn't I know? It was sent to me. Old Master Zai requested the auntie to bring the gifts over. The Tian family did not come personally. Nevertheless, we did not send them an invitation either. When the Tian family sent someone over to pass the gifts, they chatted with me about Dongzi's situation. Otherwise, old Master Zai would not have such thoughts. He had even put in some good words for Dongzi given the situation today. If the Tian family did not have the intent, why would they send someone to specially mention to old Master Zai that Tiandong had not been married all this while when he was overseas? He was still single. Wasn't the intent already obvious? The Tian family came and said that. Miaojing felt that this marriage seemed to be heading somewhere. Zai Sheng, who just walked out and heard this, looked indifferent. There is no rush in this matter. Even if there is an affinity between Dongzi and Zihua, they also need to interact with each other first. You can't possibly let them be together for life just because of that little joke which happened in their childhood. Zihua can have a better understanding of Dongzi's life in America first. We are very traditional in our thinking. If there are huge conflicts and gaps between Zihua's and Dongzi's values and thinking, there is no need to discuss further then. Although it was not during the period of the special decade, the central government had reservations in some areas. The Tian family had lived in America for 20 years. No one could be certain of the Tian family's beliefs and values now. As part of the Zai family, Zai Sheng was more particular about this aspect than any typical person. He needed a good man who would treat Zihua well, but he did not wish to lure bad guys into his house. That's right. Zai Sheng's words simultaneously received affirmation from both Old Master Zai and Zai Yaowai. 20 years in America. I hope that the thinking and values of the Tian family have not eroded and they have not forgotten their origins. Zihua rolled her eyes badly. Weren't they discussing her marriage? Why was it that once Zai Sheng appeared, this had been upgraded to a matter of conflict of interests between the spy and the country? This was too serious and exaggerating, no? If the Tian family is so problematic and troublesome, what's there to consider? Skip and change to another family then. Zihua was more decisive than anyone else. As long as she was not associated with Tiandong, no matter how the Tian family had become, at the very least, they should not cause any harm to the Zai family. This was such a simple matter. What was there to feel troubled about? Why did you come out? Do you wish to let Jiaonan stay alone in the room? You are married today and you can openly do anything to Jiaonan. Are you acting like a gentleman today? Zai Hua felt that it was rare for Zai Sheng to come out of his room at this time. The noodles are ready. The auntie was holding a bowl of noodles. The reason for Zai Sheng's appearance was self-explanatory. Marriage was a busy and tiring affair. As the bride, Jiaonan did not take a proper meal at all. She was starving so much that her blood pressure was a little low. Of course, Zai Sheng did not want to come out. He wanted more to do something that he should do. However, when he heard Jiaonan's tummy grumble, he locked the beast inside him in the cage again. Tisk, I have already said. So, it is because Jiaonan is hungry. Zai Hua understood now. Not bad. A good man. Special decade is a period of about 10 years whereby a country is expected to face certain difficulties as they grow to become one of the top and strongest countries in the world. Chapter 1110, Singlehood is poisonous. Nan Nan is hungry? Is one bowl of noodles enough? Should we get auntie to cook more stuff for Nan Nan? It has been a long day and Nan Nan must be feeling exhausted. When she knew that Nan Nan was hungry, Miao Jing's reaction was stronger than anyone. She knew that the rest of the Zai family was not done with their chat regarding Tiandong. As such, Miao Jing simply stood up, took over the bowl of noodles from auntie's hands, dumped Zai Sheng, her son, and walked into the bridal chamber to send Jiaonan the noodles. If she could send in the noodles personally, she could ask Jiaonan whether she had her fill. If Nan Nan did not, she could get the auntie to cook more stuff. Ha ha ha, Zai Hua gave a thumbs up, thinking that her biological mother was awesome. Didn't she see that dark expression of the groom, Zai Sheng? Her mother actually snatched away the job from Zai Sheng. Great! Zai Sheng, this is our biological mother. She did not feel hesitant at all when she did her children in. Even if she were to use her toes to think, Zai Hua knew that Zai Sheng was completely unwilling to discuss the topic of Tiandong and the Tian family at this point. He came out of the room only because he wanted to take some noodles for Nan Nan. He interrupted as he happened to hear their conversation. He would not bother whether they had finished discussing the Tian family. When he received his noodles, he would definitely send it to Nan Nan and then get intimate with her. Her mother's action had completely messed up Zai Sheng's plan. Zai Sheng had no choice but to stay behind. Of course she is your biological mother. When Zai Yaowai said this, there was an obvious indulging look in his eyes. He did not blame Miao Jing for creating trouble for their son. Zai Sheng, take things slowly. Nan Nan is still a student. You have to consider some issues. Nan Nan places great importance on her studies. Even if she agrees, it's not a good solution to stop her studies temporarily. He was anxious to have a grandchild, but he also had to treat his daughter-in-law fairly. Having children was a matter between a couple. It was not reasonable for Jiaonan to make sacrifices alone. Before this problem could be settled, Zai Yaowai did not think that it was right for his son to make his granddaughter pregnant. On the contrary, this was a very irresponsible decision. Most probably, he felt that he had made a mistake in the past. Zai Yaowai did not want his son to follow in his footsteps and commit the same mistake. As a soldier, he had very little time at home. He had fulfilled his responsibilities toward the country and the citizens, but his closest next of kin. Moreover, Jiaonan was only a first-year college student. Zai Yaowai could not help sparing more thoughts for Jiaonan, this daughter-in-law. Having children was not as simple as planting seeds and giving birth, and everything would be over thereafter. Zai Sheng's expression looked more at ease. Nan Nan said she has considered this carefully. If she is pregnant, she will give birth. Regarding the matter about children, Zai Sheng did not have any requirements for Qiao Nan. He only had 5 words: let nature take its course. He would be insistent if she was not pregnant. However, if their affinity with children had arrived, he did not want Qiao Nan to have an abortion. It was not good for her health. It was also too cruel. Nan Nan has really decided. Old Master Zai was very surprised. After all, Nan Nan is still a child herself. Grandpa, don't underestimate Nan Nan. She is a little young, but I always feel that she is quite mature. Since she said that to Zai Sheng, she must have considered it thoroughly. As next of kin, we should just give her our support. To take it a step further, if we really dote on her, the best way is to help her take care of the child if the latter really comes. At this juncture, Zai Hua was very optimistic. One had to know that she was craving madly for a child. If Qiao Nan gives birth, Zai Sheng is unable to help much, but the old master has a lot of spare time. He had brought up grandchildren before. Isn't it quite fun to raise another great-grandchild? Dad, you're not as busy as before, and Mom also spends more time at home. Although Nan Nan doesn't have the help of her maternal family, there are so many people in our house. If Zai Sheng and I are not around, we can still handle it. Nan Nan is a student, but everyone is in the capital. Out of her lesson time, she can also stay at home. The problems that Dad raised are not problems at all. At this moment, Zai Hua said it so well. However, after Qiao Nan had really given birth, she would cry for help. This was because she had not planned for one thing. It was more than enough for a few adults to take care of one child. The problem was, what if Qiao Nan were to give birth to more than one? Moreover, if these babies were to take after the genes of the Zai family, they would be as naughty as Zai Hua when she was young. They could not wait to climb mountains, swim in the rivers, and get on top of high places. It would not be easy to look after them even if she added herself, let alone the 4 people that she had mentioned. Only an old and seasoned bully would be able to subdue these little bullies. Give birth, why not? After giving birth, I will take care of them. Miao Jing, who was carrying an empty bowl out, responded to Zai Hua's words enthusiastically. She had not taken care of her daughter and son. Hence, she hoped that she could raise her grandson and granddaughter to make up for what she owed her children. In addition, as Miao Jing aged, she loved children more than when she was young. She could not wait for a soft, tender, and nice-smelling bun to appear in the family as soon as possible. She could take care of the baby and keep herself occupied. I will help take care of the child. When the time comes, Nan Nan just has to focus on completing her studies. She doesn't need to bother about the rest of the matters. Miao Jing was only short of saying Qiao Nan just had to give birth, and she would take care of everything else. Zai Sheng did not utter a word. He stood up and walked toward Miao Jing. Miao Jing looked puzzled. Did she say anything wrong? Zai Sheng, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Zai Sheng rubbed shoulders with Miao Jing as he went back into his room and shut the door. Zai Hua first blushed and then looked sullen. Nevertheless, she quietly conceded defeat to Zai Sheng for being so thick-skinned and shameless. Mom, children will not come just by paying lip service. Zai Sheng is using his action to support your non-wavering decision to be a grandmother. So as to speak, Zai Sheng was going back to his room to make a child now. True enough, after 3 seconds, the sharp-eared Zai family members faintly heard Qiao Nan's muffled voice. Brother Zai, you're a rogue. Meow meow, it's late. It's been a tiring day for you too. Let's go back to our room to rest. Zai Yayawai looked nonchalant as he wrapped his arms around Miao Jing's waist as they returned to their room. He and Miao Miao were of this age and could not give birth to any more children. This was prohibited by the country too. Nevertheless, he and Miao Miao could still do what was needed to make a child. A wave of sourness swept Zai Hua's heart. Grandpa, are the 2 of us being abandoned by them? Old Master Zai's expression turned stiff. There was a flash of loneliness and nostalgia in his eyes. I have not been abandoned. It's just nice. Zai Sheng is married today. I should hug your grandma's photograph and talk to her to make her happy. After grandmother Zai passed away, old Master Zai would carry his deceased partner's photograph from time to time and tell her about the family's situation. Today was the great and joyous day that Zai Sheng married his wife. It was a good day whereby the two elders had gotten a granddaughter-in-law.